everybody. Welcome back to the Comedy Castle podcast. I'm your host, Joel Fragomeni, going to tell you what's going on this week at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. It is Halloween week, so it's a little bit of a short week and a whole bunch of different shows going on, though. A lot of cool stuff. So let's tell you what those are. Wednesday, October 29th, as I record this for you, That One Mailman comes in at 7:30 p.m. for one show. I know tickets are getting hard for this one. I think we're over 300, so it's getting close to selling out. That One Mailman from Cincinnati, he's gone viral. He's got the grill. He's got all the diamonds. He's got the hat. Doing a little riffraff thing. I don't know what that is, but I was watching his TikToks. They were funny. I give him some credit. I see why people like that. 7:30 p.m., That One Mailman should be an entertaining show. And then tomorrow night, Thursday, October 30th, it's the Comedy Rumble. Brett Hayden presents the Comedy Rumble. 30 comedians, 90 seconds each, one winner. Being the Halloween edition, this is costumes encouraged, and that means the audience, as well as the performers, are encouraged to come in costume. And that should be fun. We interviewed Brett on this show, back promoting the July 4th weekend Comedy Rumbles that he did. So go back in our archives and find that show with Brett, because that was a nice talk. You want to know all about the Rumble. The Comedy Castle is closed on October 31st, Halloween, Friday night. But we are back with you. The next night, Saturday, October 1st, Maher Matta comes in for two shows. Maher's a great guy. I interviewed him on this show. You're going to hear that interview again. That's actually what today's interview is the interview that we did back in 2023 with Maher, and I really enjoyed that one. The opening acts this weekend, great opening acts. Matt Kahn is your feature, and Pam Krugman is your MC. Both students of the advanced comedy class, funny enough. I'll segue into that in a second, but Maher Matta is coming in. Really interesting dude. When you hear our interview, you're going to enjoy a lot of what you hear. He's got a real interesting story, and he's a really a terrific comic on stage. And he's only there for one night, Saturday, October 1st, or else I don't know when you hear Maher Matta. Listen to him on this podcast, I guess. But yeah, it's two big shows with him one night, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Maher again. He's great. But let's tell you a little bit about early next week, the Advanced Comedy Class Showcase. That's my students of the Advanced Comedy Class. They're performing on Tuesday, November 4th. It's a 7:30 p.m. show. I've got a whole bunch of students from this group. I've got a whole bunch of alumni of the Advanced Comedy Class, and I'm going to do a set as well. Why am I performing on November 4th? I don't always perform on the Advanced Comedy Class Showcase. Well, it is my 26th anniversary of stand-up comedy. November 4th will be 26, I believe, to the day. It could be November 3rd, 1999 that I started. But either way, 26 years. So I'm going to commemorate with the set, try to warm it up for my students. That's how I do it. I warm them up for them. And a great group of students this time around. Chris Glaub is going to be there. He's a Detroit firefighter. Yeah. And we've got attorney Jeffrey Scott, who we didn't know Mike a couple weeks ago, and Jeffrey Scott just murdered it. Tom Riskevich is one of the more memorable people in the class this time. I love Tom, man. He tries so hard, and he really seems to be enjoying himself. And he's a pinball guy. That's what I like about Tom. Yeah, Tom's terrific. Jeremy Galanti is on the show. I'm just gonna tell you who's all here. This is not the running order, but this is who's on the show. Jeremy Galanti has great material about growing up in a trailer park. Made his way out of that trailer park, but he's got great memories that are super funny. I think you're going to enjoy Jeremy. And I got Gizzard from the Crack Jokers with Tony Roney. Gizzard's a funny lady who really has done a lot of shows and really can get the crowd going. So it'll be great for her to be on the Castle stage for the first time in a while. Tony Zick is our MC. Tony. I'm going to say Tony. Tony, you'll know if you come to the show why that's funny. But Tony Zick's great. He's going to be our MC, part of the class. I've got the amazing Lady B on this show. She in this class surprised everybody because you see her walk on stage and you see the littlest old lady and she's wiping the microphone down because she doesn't want any germs and she's got to make sure. And then she lets some of the dirtiest stuff come out of her mouth. It is a riot. Lady B, pleasure to have you in this class and on that show. I'm really looking forward to it. And Hamang Sahai, who is performing, who has sort of been in half of this class, half in an earlier class. But it was great to have Hamang come and finish the class out, and I'm really looking forward to his performance. And the opening acts, in addition to me, I've got some of the all-star alumni of the class. David Lesneski, who is a guy who we had a medical issue, actually at the last Comedy Rumble, and we were worried about David, but man, that guy's doing great. He actually is working at the Comedy Castle running food, and he's back on stage being funny. So I said, David, you're invited to be a special guest at the Advanced Comedy Class Showcase. Barb Modrak, if you know that name, you're probably smiling already because Barb is one of the funniest ladies doing stand-up comedy, and I just enjoy what she does so much. I don't even want to get into it. That's what I think. I think if you see Barb, you're guaranteed to have a smile on your face watching Barb. You can't not laugh. She's terrific. Alana Gonzalez, who is a lady so funny and nice and everybody likes. I know she helps organize events like the Traverse City Comedy Festival, and she is part of someone who really loves and has cultivated the Michigan comedy scene so much. And she came out of the advanced comedy class. I said, Alana, time for you to get there. Let some of these students know who Alana is and let her know who some of they are. And maybe there's a networking opportunity. That's a thing I like to do for my students, to have somebody there that, can help their careers. And Dylan Farr, the autistic Spitfire, again, a guy who, if you know Dylan, you're probably smiling right now, as one of the funniest, most unique acts. And Dylan came through my class. And I've continued to, I think I must talk to Dylan. When I say talk, I mean maybe a Facebook message, but 5-6 times a week, Dylan and I are chatting, which is always cool. He's always got great questions, and I'm always trying to encourage him because he's unique. He's super funny. And just to have Dylan in the audience, the guy laughs like nobody I've ever heard in my life. And it's infectious and it's hilarious. So really looking forward to have Dylan on the show. It should be a great night. Come on out, the Advanced Comedy Class Showcase. That's next Tuesday, November 4th. And the following day, Bill Bouchard's Beginner 101 class has a showcase at 7:30 p.m. So lots of opportunities to see friends and family at the Advanced Comedy Class. Again, comedycastle.com has all of the tickets for all of the shows I just talked about. And I also want to remind people that this Saturday, November 1st, the next Advanced Comedy Class, the last one of 2025, will happen at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. So if you're interested in learning about comedy on a professional level, maybe you did the beginner class with Bill Bouchard, maybe you just been out doing some open mics and trying to figure this thing out, or maybe you're a comedian who's done it for a little bit, and you say, I really need some pointers. Work with me. Again, 26 years in stand-up comedy. I'm going to teach you everything I know and really try to help you out. And like I said, this continues on after the class. As I say, I'm chatting with Dylan every day, trying to get him going. So, let's have everybody come out for the Advanced Comedy Class Showcase, the next advanced class. I put so much into it. I want you guys to be the benefit of that. By signing up for the Advanced Comedy Class, call the club at 248-542-9900. They'll sign you up for the Advanced Comedy Class. All right? Okay. Business aside, Maher Matta, you're going to hear this interview. Again, it's a couple years old. Now, I didn't have a chance to do a new one with him. But, yeah, we'll hear about Maher. He'll tell you about doing comedy in Tennessee, what that was like. He was also a Virginia state trooper, so that's interesting. He has had a career in law enforcement. And, of course, being of Middle Eastern descent, he'll tell you about doing stand-up comedy in Arabic. Yeah. I can't imagine. But I know I asked him all the questions about that. And he's a family guy. I probably bring this up in the interview, running into Maher. As much as I know these comics and see them on stage and have memories of how funny they've been, I saw Maher with his two boys at Target right around Christmas a couple years back. And that's the memory I have of Maher, the dad, his cute little kids there. Maher trying to get him something to eat. You know, the little pretzel and Slurpee joint at the Target when you walk in. That's what he was doing. And I said hi. We shook hands, met the kids. Great guy. Really looking forward to this weekend with Maher on Saturday. But listen to this interview. It's a good one. We'll be back after to wrap it up. All right? Here you go. Maher Matta. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to have on the phone with me this weekend's headliner, Maher Matta. Welcome to the Comedy Castle podcast.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me. This is exciting. I'm so excited about the weekend.
It's great. And you said to me in setting up this interview, let's do this in person. And I said, we can't do it in person.
That's right. That's right. I got too fired up, didn't I? I tend to try to friend people too fast.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, here's the thing. You said you probably in your mind, this is what I'm gonna make, and it's an honest mistake that you made. Not even a mistake. This is what you should assume, that there is a state-of-the-art Comedy Castle podcast studio.
That's right.
That exists somewhere in the bowels of the
like you were going to open a basement, a basement door, and go, come on in.
Well, imagine that basement door in my house, and then you're pretty much
That's right.
A little closer to that. But I said, you know what? We'll just do it on the phone anyway, because with schedules, it's so tough to. I could have taken my equipment to the club and done something there, but you know, with everybody's schedule, I know you got a family. Yeah. You're touring. We had a super busy weekend last weekend and everything at the club, so we'll do it this way.
This is awesome. Thank you.
And then we'll see each other this weekend.
On Thursday. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited, man.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun to have you there, because first headlining weekend at the Comedy Castle?
That's right. Yeah. So I got to feature there a couple of times, once for very funny Robert Mack out of DC, and then once for Erica Rhodes out of California. And it was a blast, man. So I'm really, really thrilled to be back on the stage as a headliner.
Because you've, how long have you been on the Michigan comedy scene?
Well, we moved here summer of 21. So it's been a couple of years now. I can't believe it's already been 2 years, and we're moving this summer for work. Oh, wow. And so it's been, Michigan's been really welcoming. The comics have been awesome. And, you know, everybody knows about the Palace and, the Castle. Why did I say Palace?
Well, there's the Palace in Auburn Hills, which no longer stands.
Also, when I lived in San Diego, there was a Comedy Palace.
Oh, interesting. So
everybody talks about.
Is the Palace bigger than the Castle?
No, the Castle is bigger.
Yes,
the Castle is bigger, but the Palace and Castle. You see what happened there?
I get that. Yes. Well,
but you know, it's funny. When I first moved here, I'd heard so much about the Castle, and I did some homework on it, and I was like, man, it would be really cool to get into that club. It seems like such a respected club. And then, sure enough, we moved really just a few miles north of it. Mm-hmm. So when I first looked at it, I was like, man, this place is really close. I can't wait to see it. And then it worked out perfectly to get in there to feature and now to headline.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you on stage for the first time and going, okay, and this guy's really funny. And then I'm talking to you, and you're like, oh, I live here. I'm like, wait a minute. How have you been this good in Michigan? Yeah. And I didn't know of you. I've been here for 25 years doing comedy and working at the club. And so sure enough, you started your comedy career elsewhere.
Yeah, I did. And that's very nice of you to say, by the way. But yes, I did. The first time I ever got on stage was in Bristol, Virginia, because, you know, I grew up in Tennessee.
Okay.
And Bristol, Virginia was the first place that there was a comedy zone, a pop-up comedy zone. And that was the first time I got on stage. So, you know, it's been this sort of a Southern thing. I lived in San Diego for a while, and that was a lot of fun. And East Coast, West Coast, and now Midwest.
Yeah, well, this is your way to make a name all over the country.
Yeah, man. I mean, I heard a comic once say on an interview or something, they said, you know, if you can make Midwest crowds laugh, then you're doing pretty good. I don't know what he meant by that, but I'm like, all right.
Are Midwest crowds tougher than other places? I don't really know that's the case.
I think everybody just says that based on where they're from.
Yeah. Because when I was touring, I always found places with a real, strong local identity to be tough. At least with my style, they always they kind of view you as an outsider, and they're skeptical.
Right.
they're
Right,
skeptical that, like, especially like being from Michigan, you go to Ohio to do comedy, and they're skeptical right away. I stopped having them introduce me as being from Detroit or
Really?
Michigan, literally just to not have that hanging over my head.
Yeah, yeah. And then you can also look at places like New York, LA, and Vegas, and those three big ones in particular are so tourist heavy.
Yeah.
That the comedy clubs are just absolutely full of people visiting. They want to go to that comedy club that they've seen on TV or something.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different too.
Yeah.
But I think what that comic was saying was, the Midwest is locals, and if you can make them laugh, they came out to that club for a particular reason, whereas the touristy action you see in New York and Vegas.
Yeah, they're just happy to be there. Whereas,
absolutely,
Comedy Castle people, they might be there 3-4 weeks a year sometimes.
That's everybody I've talked to after your shows there, like they're like, yeah, we come out here twice, just like you said, 3-4 times a year, and they love it. They love it.
Yeah, well, they see lots of people. So if you're good, Comedy Castle means you're good because they see lots of people.
That's right.
Those are
That's
fans. Right. We love them for that. Anyway, so getting back into your comedy journey, says Comedy Zone people, do they like you? Because they got lots for people that don't know the way getting booked at a comedy club is. This Comedy Zone company has lots of clubs, usually in the Southeast for the most part. And if you can get in with them, you're doing really well.
It's kind of weird for me because I barely touched the Comedy Zone, and it was really it's kind of a weird story. But there was an MC that I befriended, but he was the first comic that I knew, and his name was Shane. He just died last year. I was really really sad about that. But man. Shane said. I approached him. I said, Shane, I've never done this before. I want to try stand up. And he said, okay. Well, I said, here in Bristol, Virginia, Bristol, Tennessee, there's not a lot of mics, but this is a club. He said, so why don't you come back next Saturday, and I will we'll sit at the bar, we'll talk about comedy, kind of talk to you a little bit about it, and the next Saturday, the following Saturday, you'll come and do a guest spot. And I did that. And Shane kind of took me under his wing, and he said, listen, come up here every Saturday. Just keep doing guest spots as long as the headliner's okay with it, which they usually are. Come and do it.
Right. And
so Shane built my confidence up, and eventually I just kept going every Saturday. Shane said, listen, I need someone to MC. I'm going to be out of town. Do you want to do that? And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. It was like so cool to do that. And then he would MC the shows in Johnson City, Tennessee, which has a Comedy Zone. I think it's still there. I'm not sure. Yeah. And so those were my only two intros to the Comedy Zone. Circuit.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I moved somewhere. Then I moved to Central Virginia, Richmond.
Well, that's a nice. I want to say it's a shortcut, but I guess it's not. I mean, if you can go in and sometimes you got to earn your way into the big club. You kind of, but I guess Tennessee with a smaller comedy scene, maybe it was easier to break through than like Chicago or Detroit or something.
Right. And what was tough too was going from, oh man, this is cool. Every time I come up here, there's a crowd. This is great. This must be what comedy's all about. But then when I moved to Richmond, Virginia, I was like, oh, I have to start at open mics.
Yeah.
So I started going into open mics, and I go, gosh, this is different. Shane's not here.
Man. Yeah.
There's not a feature and a headliner to kind of, talk to them about it, comedy. But anyway.
Yeah. You get all the crazy people in that town are at that open mic.
That's
hoping to be stars. That's pretty much
right. That's right. You can learn a lot from an open mic, though. I think some people you can learn a lot from those, man.
Well, I always explain it this way to people. 'Cause I teach comedy class, right? So I'm teaching fans comedy class. And I say to them, the paying audiences are the best audiences. They're the ones that are going to laugh. They got something invested. They got skin in the game. They paid their money. They want to have a good time. Open mic, they show up. They don't know who you are. They're skeptical. Maybe they're here to see their friend who's, number 13, and you're the third person on, and they're bored. Whoever went before you, it's kind of tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And then you have to face the fact that a lot of them, not all of them, are often just comics.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, when you're trying to get to know the scene in any city, that's where you have to start, because those comics can tell you, hey, go to this room, go to that room, come. It quickly becomes a. I hate when companies I hate when you join Sprint or Verizon or something. And they say, "Welcome to the family." I hate when they say that.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a corny saying. But anyway, in the comedy thing, it is kind of like a family, because suddenly, you're taken in by these guys and gals that are all over the comedy scene.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's nice, and they take you under their wing a little bit, and then that's sort of a nice endorsement. But again, like when we saw you, I say we, like the guys who work at the club with me.
Yeah.
When we saw you for the first time, we were like, okay, here's a guy who's really funny. He gets it. He's a nice guy, which is very helpful, I think, as you're trying to navigate this business. And people go like, I want you back here. You need to come back here. And I don't know how quickly you heard it from us, but that's a nice feeling when you get that.
Oh man, it really is a good feeling because you know that what you're doing is working. And like you said, you've got it felt like I've got something to bring to the club. And so the club management was like, hey man, you should reach out again in the future and see about getting more feature work or even headline work. It is a good feeling because you're like, you know what, man, maybe I can actually do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus the manager going, hey man, thanks for coming in. Look, I got to run.
We'll see you down the road whenever that is. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. We'll be in touch.
Yeah. Now being in Detroit, Maher, we haven't gotten to this part of your story, but being from the Middle East or being born there, does having that Middle Eastern population in Michigan and Detroit in particular, does that help you? Did you find that those people are coming out to see you?
Not a lot because I think not a lot. I mean, there's been some support, and I've done a lot of private shows. I've done some like weddings and special events, special events and stuff. But I think with such a large Arab American community, it's not. This sounds kind of mean, but a Lebanese guy at a comedy club is not as special as.
Okay.
They're kind of like, we've seen plenty of comics come through. Yeah, we know that one guy. We know that one guy out in Philly. Yeah, we've kind of seen it, been there, done that. But if you're a Lebanese guy in a place like Richmond or even DC, which you kind of stick out a little bit more.
Oh, I got you. So it's not so much being surrounded by people who are more like you. Being less like the people makes you stand out.
In a way, because. But now the cool thing is I bring that unique perspective about being Lebanese American and not being from Michigan.
Yeah, right.
That's what's kind of worked in my favor.
Yeah,
because every time I mention being Middle East, I'm like, oh, Michigan. I'm like, no, man, I've never been here except when I moved here.
Right. Yeah.
So that's worked out.
Do you? I know you speak Arabic. Can you do comedy in Arabic? Is that a thing?
I have. There's a really big festival called the Arab American Comedy Festival. I think they're on their 20th year in New York. Yeah, they do it every single year. It's a lot of fun. It's like 20 plus Arab American comics from New York, from California. They're from all over, and they wanted to do an Arabic show. They were like, you know what? Why don't we try doing one of our shows entirely in Arabic?
Wow.
But the tricky thing is, not a lot of comics were seasoned at doing any. In their defense, they just weren't doing any Arabic comedy. And they said, they asked me if I'd be interested. I said, sure, I can try. But the funny thing is, in languages, your material doesn't necessarily literally translate over.
Yeah.
So you have to end up doing sort of inside jokes more.
Yeah.
That the community would understand. And they ended up not doing it because unfortunately they couldn't find enough Arab American comics who could perform in Arabic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Venn diagram. You've got the Arabic speaker comedians, you've got funny comedians, and even the Middle Eastern comics in America, they don't speak Arabic, all of them.
Right, not always. Yeah. So what I suggested was, hey, why don't we hire an interpreter to stand on stage? And we all come up in English and just interpret it, very stiff like you see on the UN interviews or something. But
that's what people imagine it to be, right? As
that's right.
Like the Taliban comedy club, or
That's right. That's right. But the Arab American Comedy Festival was my first exposure to New York City comedy, and we would do the 5 shows, 5 shows at Gotham, and that was a cool feeling. Like, oh wow, right in front of right at Gotham Comedy Club in New York City. Haven't been able to do it in a couple of years for one reason or another, but it's a very fun festival.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds great, man. And then so much of your act, your comedy, comes from that deep South upbringing. Yeah. And I know you tell stories I mean, you could make stories up about being from the South, being with your background, but I don't think you made those up.
No, I really didn't. But I will tell you this. I always tell people this. I had very, very, very good experiences in the South.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I grew up, my friends and that sort of thing. But usually those stories came from situations which were all entirely true.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, man, how can, just like any stand-up comic, how can I tell this on stage? And it's funny because a lot of folks after were like, there's no way that happened. I'm like, man, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, a lot of it comes from, I didn't, storytelling about my kids, about my wife, about being married before, about my jobs, about growing up in the South, growing up in a big family. But I'll tell you how I try to make it work is if I'm talking about a Lebanese American father, or I'm talking about me being a father, that Lebanese American father, whatever, I always try to bring it back to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
everyone's got a dad.
Right.
Everyone has a mom,
Right.
or had a mom or whatever. And everyone has kids. So I try to not do it in a way that's like, it's only funny if you are
Mm-hmm.
Middle Eastern or whatever.
And I think, too, people feel like they're an outsider in any, you can be an outsider in any situation.
Yes.
Whether you're the white guy in the black neighborhood, the black guy in the white neighborhood, the northerner in the South, a Michigander in Ohio, as I gave you that example earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's very relatable. I mean, I love your stuff. In fact, I was telling you before we recorded, but I watched the whole Dry Bar special. You did a great job on that. I know that's a couple years old, but people should check that out if they want to see more of Maher after this weekend. What was your experience doing that thing? That seems like a big deal for comics when they get one of those.
It was a big deal. It was tricky though. I was living overseas when I did it.
Oh.
And I had to fly to Utah. And first of all, it's such a nice production company. They put on really good shows, and it was my first professional experience meeting with cameras and that sort of thing. And I would tell any comic or anyone listening to this to be careful, because when you film that, there's something about saying to yourself, "I'm filming something," that you automatically change you act differently.
Yeah, right.
Almost like you're acting your material instead of just doing your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up, I felt like I kind of did that. So I think now if I were to do it, I'd be much more relaxed. I think I was a little too stiff when I did it. But I'm proud to say, man, that in 2022 or 22, I can't remember, 21 or 22, it was in the top 10 of their dry bars.
Well, the YouTube, YouTube alone's almost at 1 million. So it
was a good feeling. It was a good feeling, man. And it was a really good feeling. Really good feeling to get that in their top 10 for that year.
Yeah, I mean, to have that, it just as a reel for you to show people what you can do. I mean, come on, right? That alone.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really, really, really thankful. Yeah. And it was a blast doing it.
No, nice. And then you talk also in that special about being a state trooper, which...
That's right.
I know you a little bit. I don't know if I can picture you a state trooper. Maybe that's why you're not doing it anymore.
I don't think the Virginia State Police could picture me as a state trooper. No, I was always really... This sounds so dorky, man. This sounds so dorky, but I was always really into traffic investigations, crash investigations.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah, and I knew that really to be doing that sort of thing, you have to kind of be in law enforcement. But I knew that at least in Virginia, troopers there, very respected state police program, and they do traffic. That's what they do. They work on the interstates. They work the big roads. And so I applied, thinking, man, this. And had I stayed with the state police, I wanted to go do like their crash investigation.
Yeah, I get that.
I thought that was so fascinating. And then I worked on 95 and did that for a while, and I really liked it. I mean, I liked being alone. No. Versus in an office where you're working with people. I loved being in the state police, working kind of by myself.
Okay. So well, because I mean, I can see Virginia. Does Virginia, do their state troopers have a reputation? Because I know like Georgia does, and like Ohio kind of does. And Virginia really saturates their highways and interstates with a lot of troopers, and so they have this reputation of, oh man, don't speed through Virginia. And for the longest time, the speed limit on the interstate was 65. Okay.
I don't know why it was 65. Maybe because they wanted folks to go 70, but then it finally changed to 70, but for years and years and years, people were like, oh man, it's only 65 on 95 going through Richmond and DC, heavy population, and you can only go 65 and the troopers stop you. But yeah, they do have a reputation of being kind of tough because it's that 95 corridor, man.
Yeah.
Going from DC up to New York, just
Mhm.
heavy traffic. Heavy traffic.
A lot of interstate travel.
Oh man,
that
it's very dense traffic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I hope you got that out of your system there.
Oh, I know. By the way, one thing I used to love doing at the State Police Academy, which at the time was 35 weeks long. It was a really long, intense. It was a long, intense academy. I used to do impressions of the instructor.
Okay.
And that was kind of like the class's stress relief. We'd kind of go and joke, and it's just amazing how humor can kind of get you even through that something as stressful as an intense like paramilitary type academy.
Yeah.
Humor and being funny and having a good time helped us, man.
Did it really? Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it helped us a lot.
Good.
It helped us a lot.
It
was awesome.
Did you have a sense of humor when it came to people? Were you like if you pulled somebody over? Were you ever? Could you laugh with them? Did that happen?
Yes, for sure, 100%. And there was a couple of things that I did. Looking back, I go, ugh, I probably shouldn't have said that. There was a couple of little jokes I would make with someone on the side of the interstate, and nothing inappropriate. But I definitely like that was kind of unprofessional or something. But yeah, I used to try to always incorporate it because here's the thing: when someone gets in a crash or something, it'd be very stressful.
Sure.
So you come up and you have a sense of humor and you kind of bring that to the situation. It kind of helps people relax.
Yeah. That's nice.
And they pay you more. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but and then you talk so much about your family too, and I'm going to tell this story. I don't know if you remember, but this is I think around last holiday time.
Yeah.
I was shopping in a Target store.
Yes.
And I see a man who resembles Maher Matta, who I know from the Comedy Castle. I see children. Yeah. And I'm sort of so I believe at this point I had checked out and you guys were getting something to eat. If you know Target, there's the little cafe or the Starbucks there. Yep. And your children, as I'm looking at you, because I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to go up to some stranger thinking I know, because that's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for them. And I see that there's children involved. Your children were clocking me. Like, who is this crazy man?
Yeah.
Why is he staring at my dad? Your kids were very inquisitive. Yeah. I thought it was adorable.
Very, very, very. And bless their heart, man. They think I'm some famous guy now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think I did say to them, I said, your dad is very funny. I want you guys to know that.
Yeah. They appreciated that. Yeah. And they look all three. I have three boys now.
Yeah.
I didn't see the baby then.
Okay.
But and they all look exactly like me.
Do they really?
And, yeah, it's funny. They all look exactly like me, but they're good boys, man, and they're funny too. They're very silly, and I like being silly, and they're very silly.
Well, I kind of got that vibe. I was like, look at that.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, very silly boy.
Had I seen you with your kids and you were yelling at them, I would have been like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to say anything to Maher right now.
Just cursing up a storm in Target.
Well, look, holidays in Target, you could see where that would be a thing, but
yeah.
But your kids
it's not that strange we ran into each other because anybody over 35 on a Sunday is likely at Target.
I think so. Well, I was there and you were there, and this weekend we'll be there.
We'll be there,
Comedy Castle, man. You got to come out. It's, Memorial Day weekend, and people that don't go to the lake, you come to the club. That's how I look at it. And we'll have a nice time. We got a nice lineup too. I'm trying to remember who's on the lineup with you. I'll put it in the people will hear that in the intro.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They know better than me as I speak. But it's going to be a great time. So come on out, see Maher. Look for you on. I also was watching some of your little YouTube things today, which was funny too.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more of those.
Yeah.
Just to I like being silly, man. I like doing little videos, and sometimes you get good feedback on those videos. Sometimes people are just like, one time just yesterday, someone said, how dare, like basically they said the equivalent of how dare you hashtag this with comedian. This isn't. This isn't funny. So she said, why did you hashtag this comedian? And my response was, because I'm a radiologist. Like, what? But,
well, you do open yourself up to those kind of comments.
For sure.
But I
love
think
it.
One of the things I liked from the things I watched is your personality coming out in everyday life, and not just when you get to the comedy stage, you're telling these stories in past tense, and when you're recording them, it's like they're happening right then and there.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. It's a bit happening right in front of you. And it probably gives
right.
you, I don't know what your process is, probably helps you write some stuff for the stage.
It does, and then people respond to it. Friends and family or just random strangers say, that's a good idea, that's funny, and you think about, okay, how can that be funny on stage?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, Maher, hoping for the best this weekend. I'm going to be entertained, I know. Hope everybody comes out and sees you before you leave us. But here's the thing. You've headlined the Comedy Castle, and it won't be for the last time in all likelihood. So you will get to come back wherever you live, and you'll be flying in, and you'll be a hot shot. You know what I mean?
Man, that'll be a blast. Yeah. I can't wait.
All right. Well, Maher, thanks for talking to me, dude.
Thanks so much, and look forward to this weekend.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay, see ya.
All right. Well, there it is, guys. Maher Matta, Saturday night, 2 big shows with him. Should be fun. Should be a fun week with all the different things. With that one, Mailman tonight, Comedy Rumblin' tomorrow night, and Maher Matta on Saturday. Again, the advanced comedy class starts this Saturday. Call the club at 248-542-9900 if you want to sign up for that one. I really recommend it if you're a comedian trying to make it here. I always talk about how well my students are doing when they get out of class. And again, we'll see that this weekend with Maher and the openers, Pam and Matt, because they're terrific. And just so proud of everybody there. Maher Matta's a wonderful comic. Great time. You can bring the family to Maher. Yeah, this isn't a thing you got to worry about, Grandma's going to get offended by this guy. No. Maher's great. You'll love him. But that's going to do it for the show this week, guys. I want to thank everybody for listening. And again, apologies for no show last week. We did have some great shows with Landau over on the weekend. David Keckner came in on Sunday. That was great. I would have loved to talk to those guys. But we'll be back. I know I've got Keith Alberstadt lined up. A great November lineup at the club. I don't know if you've looked that forward. John Heffron, Josh Wolf. It's going to be a great month. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll see you this weekend at the club, everybody. Bye-bye.